Hi ladies, I'm Rebecca, the founder of the Female Entrepreneurs Network, and welcome to the show. Here you're going to find badass human beings, creatives, adventurous people and massive action takers. If you need any more support or love, head over to thefemaleentrepreneursnetwork.com to find everything that you could ever possibly need. Always remember to speak your truth, be who you are, because you are always enough. And there is someone out there who needs to hear your message today. Enjoy this episode, and if you love us, share us with your mates. I love you all, Rebecca. Hello and welcome, Claire Ashton, to the podcast.
Hello.
Claire is a health and lifestyle coach for mums, but Claire, look, I'll let you take over and explain to our audience who you are and what you do.
Okay. Thank you for introducing me. That's exactly what I do, but people don't really understand what a health coach is, really. So what I do is I help busy mums, busy working mums, find ways to just have a healthier lifestyle. Because I think when you're a busy working mum, you're running around, you're going to work, you're running around after your kids, you quite often get home, it's really late. It's easier to open a packet of Doritos than it might be to cook yourself a healthy meal. It's easier to sit down and watch the TV than it might be to go to the gym. So I help mums find sustainable habits they can easily do. It doesn't take very long, just to try and make themselves healthier. And I also work on their mindset, because most of it is about our mindset.
Yeah, mindset's so important, isn't it? Like, I always find when you start your mindset out, that trips everything else into action, like the healthy food, lifestyle, the way you talk to yourself is so key.
Yeah,
so
totally.
When you work with people, then obviously we work together quite closely, so I know everything there is about you, but our audience in a good way obviously, our audience might not know who you are. So let's start with then, what is the problem that people have when they come to you? Or what's the problem that people have when they come to you?
Most people come to me because they think they want to lose weight, or there's something just not right. And it's usually because I work with mums. You're a mum. When we have babies, our body shape changes. We don't feel quite as great as we used to. We're not in like our early 20s. Some bits have dropped and some bits have changed, and they come to me initially because they want to lose weight. And as we start to work together, a lot more comes out. And although it might be a little bit about weight to begin with, it's never about weight. It's never about the food. And a lot more comes out. And basically what we do as mums is we compare ourselves to other mums. I think all women do it, but we're a funny breed, mums. And we're always comparing ourselves to what the other mum looks like in the playground, or what that other mum in the office looks like, or that other mum who's on Instagram, what she's doing, and comparing ourselves. And we always fall short of what we think is the perfect mum or the expected mum. So usually people come to me for weight loss, but it's never about the weight loss. They always lose the weight, but it's always about something else.
Yeah. So I always used to have this goal. I was speaking to my hairdresser the other day, and it just reminded me I wanted to grow my hair. And I was like, how do you know when to grow your hair? So I was like, right, I'll grow my hair to my nipples. That's when I know it'll be as long as I want it to be. But I've never got there, right? And I was saying to my hairdresser the other day, it's because I've had kids and my nipples have dropped.
That's right, yeah.
That's the only reason why I've not achieved it. But I would have achieved it if they hadn't moved.
2 kids, I know. And that's quite a funny thing. But that's exactly what it is. It's like our body shape changes, and we're not the same person anymore. And we've got this new identity, and it's just, I think that people, they've got quite low self-esteem. We don't always realise that. And if I said to one of my clients, I think you've got quite low self-esteem, she'd be like, no, I haven't.
Yeah.
And it's unpicking all of what's behind why you want to change your body image.
Yeah, and I think as well, you're so right when you say that, because when I had my first daughter, I had such bad postnatal depression, but I couldn't even admit it to myself, let alone ask for someone for help. And so I was always the kind of person that I was so driven, I was going to take over the world, and really, actually, I was so awful to myself. I had such bad negative self-talk. I constantly felt exhausted because of the way that I spoke to myself and the expectations that I'd set for myself that was completely impossible. And then the comparing to other people completely falls into that category too. But if you'd have come to me and said, yeah, you've just got low self-esteem, or you're just not very nice to yourself, I'd have been like, what?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's so important. So, what is it then that you think? I know we've touched on like mindset, and we've touched on like you changing your body shape. And do you think it is the having kids that kind of triggers the loss of identity and the need to change ourselves?
Yeah, I think that, my oldest is 11. So 12 years ago, I was known as Claire. I'm now known as Mummy, Mum, Samuel's mum, Jasmine's mum, Caitlin's mum, Isabella's mum. That lady over there, such and such mum. Is that the woman over there in the playground with the trainers on? No one calls me Claire. It's always such and such's mum. And I think that's part of what you do. So if I go to work, people call me Claire, which is quite nice. Or you, or whatever it is they're going to call me that day. But you totally lose who you
are. You
are. Oi. I was a nurse for a long time. I got oi, sister, matron for a lot. Anyway, so no, people still know my name. But you lose. People don't call you by your name anymore. And that's part of you've always known who you are, and then you become a mum, and no one tells you how to be a mum. No one gives you this manual where you open it, this is going to happen, you do this. And so you are kind of like guessing and feeling your way through motherhood, and then they go through something else. And my son's nearly a teenager, and that's another thing that we're going through now. And no one tells you how to do that. And I think that we look at other people and we think, they're just so perfect, and they're just doing it perfectly. And you lose your identity of who you were, and of course you're not that person anymore, because you're this much better person,
goddess,
who's like produced kids. But you knew who you were before, but now it's kind of like, I've got this role and that role and that role and that role, and it's like I don't really know who I am anymore.
I'm getting mama. My 3-year-old's call me mama. I think it's because my baby's going mama, mama, mama. So she's now mama, mama. We were shopping the other day, and she was going mama, mama.
It's kind of like you want to change your name to a really, really, really long name, so they can't call you mum, 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 mum.
Yeah. So so funny. Okay, I had a question then, but it's just completely gone. And this is one of the things that happens when you're a mum.
That's right. You write everything. I write everything down.
Yeah, I should have wrote it down, shouldn't I? So talk me through the process that you go through with your clients then. So you talk about like speaking to them about losing weight, and then so what's the kind of identifying factor to know like what the support is that you will support them with, if that makes sense?
Yeah, so most people will come to me because of something to do with their body image. So it might be they want to lose weight, or they want to get fit because they want to lose weight, or they want to get fit because they want to change their body shape. And it's all to do with how they perceive themselves. And so the number one thing I get to do, and that they all hate me at the beginning, but they get quite good at it at the end, is I make them name me 5 things about themselves that they like. And that is really difficult. So I can do it easily, but also I can do it about them by the end of their first session. I can say, right, you've got this, you've got that, this is amazing, I like that part of you. And they can't do it. And if I asked you, if I said to you right now, right, suddenly give me 5 things you like about your body, you might be like, I can think of 3. And like you're very confident, you're quite confident in your own body image, but coming out with 5 and they can't do it. So then I say, right, okay, think about 5 things that you would like about your body, and then we work from there. And that's the first thing, because it's as I said, it's never about the weight, it's about the body image themselves.
I remember a question.
Go on.
I wrote it down this time. So I want to know more about you and your story. So like, what was the point where you decided that you wanted to start your business? And because you said you were a nurse.
Yep.
What
So
happened?
there's two parts to my story. So I'll start with the first part. So the first part was I had my son who's nearly 12. And I was a nurse and I was a personal trainer on the side in my 20s. And I had quite a stressful time getting pregnant with him. I had 2 miscarriages. The doctors scanned me very early when I was pregnant with him and told me that I would also miscarry this baby. And I lived in London. And once you've had 3 miscarriages, they will refer you to get miscarriage treatment so you can to be tested. And I went home and I said to my friend, I cannot have any more miscarriages. This is awful. It's the most hideous thing ever. And I turned to one thing that I hadn't done. So I basically turned to comfort eating. Now, I spent my 20s going to the gym, and so my diet would yo-yo, but my weight would be up, my weight would down. But I'd kind of control it pretty much by going to the gym, just go to the gym more. But I'd got this baby, I'd got this pregnancy that I was probably going to lose. I couldn't go to the gym, and I just started to eat. Now, I didn't lose him, but when every time I felt down about something, I would just eat. And that isn't something that I had done in my 20s, because if I ate something, I just go to the gym. And the more and more I ate. And then when I had him, about 2 weeks after I had him, I had to go to my friend's wedding. I thought I better go and try some clothes on. Nothing fit. And I'd put on nearly 6 stone. Now I'm only 5'4", so to put on nearly 6 stone was it was just awful, right? I think I stared at the scales for about 10 minutes going, that can't be what it says. And I just was like, my confidence had gone. I was a new mother. It was just, my body wasn't my own anymore. And I'd put on all this weight. And thankfully, because I was a personal trainer and I was a nurse, and I've got that whole background around nutrition and the anatomy and physiology of your body, it meant I'd already got a little bit of I already had some knowledge about what to do. But I was like, I cannot go on another diet. I can't go and do what I was doing in my 20s, like try this diet, try that diet, because I was breastfeeding, and you can't do that when you're breastfeeding. So I did lots of research into how to just eat healthily, and I was also training to be a life coach, which is where the mindset work came in. And I lost all the weight. But I did a lot of work on why I'd done that in the first place, and why I was going to food in the first place, and why I was being comforted by that. And then by the time he was 9 months, I got pregnant with my daughter. I'd lost all the weight, it all gone. And I just knew that I was in a different place with her, and I could go to the gym every day. But by that point, I'd got this whole healthy eating lifestyle. So it wasn't about restriction like a lot of these diets are, or drink all these shakes or whatever. It was just about eating food that nourished my body, that was good for me, that had lots of color in it, that I liked, that was enjoyable, and just by loving myself as opposed to hating myself. Which is why I think a lot of us, we don't always love ourselves, and that's sometimes why we do emotionally eat. So that was it. So that started off my journey, and exercise has always been a part of my life. I was a personal trainer, and I wanted to move into getting really away from the exercise and go more into the whole mindset that I work with my clients about. And so I trained to become a health coach. So my friend said to me, do you know what, Claire, you're doing a full-time job. You've got 4 kids. I've got 4 children now. You're doing 2 jobs on the side. You're personal training and life coaching on the side. And now you're doing this health coaching. Like, you know what? You need to stop. You need to slow down. I was like, no, it's fine. I'll slow down like in a few months. When my twins go to school, I'm going to slow it down. It's fine. And then someone else said to me, I think that you need to slow it down. You're going to burn out. You're going to get really stressed. I was like, no, it's fine. So what I did was, this is ridiculous. I thought I'll train for one of these mega events. So I trained for a half marathon.
Because you're not already doing enough.
I know that's again, but that's part of like having low self-esteem and low body and like low image about yourself. It's one of the things about I'm not good enough that we take on more and more and more. And so so I thought, okay, I'll train for this Tough Mudder. So some of my friends and I were very, very fit. We were very trained for it. And I went to do this Tough Mudder, and there's a 10-foot wall, and and the whole point about Tough Mudder is you help each other. So this guy said to me, "Oh, do you want some help over the wall?" And I was kind of like, "Yeah, because I don't know how I'm going to get over this wall." And I weighed nothing, and he was big, muscly guy. And rather than helping me over the wall, he threw me over the wall, and I shattered my entire leg, and I had to go to hospital, obviously. And I was bedbound for several months, and I was in a wheelchair. I was left in a wheelchair.
Oh, wow.
This person who'd had, activity is part of my life, fitness was part of my life. And if you remember what I said about in my 20s, I'd always rely on the fitness a little bit to help me, keep the weight down. And suddenly that was taken away. So I was, our downstairs was converted into a bedroom. I had a bed down there, and I lived down there for quite a long time. And I was in my wheelchair for quite a long time. I got quite good at spinning around after a while, but that took a while. And I would train people from my wheelchair.
Wow, that is incredible. So
Yeah.
how long were you in your wheelchair for?
I was in my wheelchair. Altogether, I was in my wheelchair. I had 2 operations on my leg. My leg's mostly made of metal, so my daughter likes to sound bionic. I was in my wheelchair altogether for around 4 or 5 months. It took a year before I could walk. And you wouldn't know necessarily unless you knew me. I can't run. I can't hop, skip, or jump, which is, when you're a mum, you need to be able to hop, skip, and jump. But I can walk, and I'm out of my wheelchair. But that was a time where, again, at the back of my mind, I'd always had my fitness to help me with the weight, really. So although I did a lot of healthy eating, I also did a lot of exercise. So now I can't exercise like that anymore. But it's helped me, because it's like, right, it is about the way we look after ourselves, the way we speak to ourselves, the way that we think about ourselves. Because now, of course, my body is a different shape, because I don't exercise 6 times a week. And I've got a massive scar running down my leg, which I quite like, actually. There's a story there. And so, yes, there were 2 parts to my story. So the first bit was all about the weight, and then the second bit was the fact that the one thing I still really secretly did to control my weight was my exercise, and then that got taken off me as well. So yeah, it's been a journey, which is a good journey.
It's so inspiring as well to know that was it a full year that you couldn't walk?
Yeah, I learned I could walk. I did it on the 1st of May, and I finished my in 2016, and I finished my rehab on something like the 25th of May 2017.
Wow. And then you were still training people from your wheelchair?
Yeah, my wheelchair.
Oh my God. Talk about inspiring.
Yeah, and I'd get out, sometimes I'd get out my wheelchair and I'd be on my crutches, and I'd point with one of my crutches and I'd say, pick up that weight or whatever. My husband would drive me to health coaching clients, and I would then wheel me to the door and whatever. Yeah.
That's incredible. That's so incredible, because I think if it had been me, I just don't think I would have been able to. That's so inspiring, Claire. Thank you so much.
I'm happy that, first of all, I had that weight problem after I had my son. So I'd already hit rock bottom. So I knew I couldn't ever go there again. But it was just the fact that I'd already trained. It was like somebody knew, something new, that this was the journey I had to go on in my life to get to where I am. So I had trained to be a life coach. So I had got that mindset training, which was that's why I say to people, it was only because I had done mindset training, and because I'm stubborn and I wasn't going to let anyone tell me I couldn't get up, that got me through it.
So I'm really interested to know the story then that you told yourself, which kept you going. I always believe that everything comes down to the stories that we tell ourselves. And something else cropped up as well whilst you were talking that I thought of, 10 years ago where I was, and when you were mentioning about self-love and how we look after ourselves and how we perceive ourselves, I've always been really lucky, because I've always been quite well built, in terms of I used to do a lot of exercise as a child, because my mum lived in the middle of nowhere, so lots of walking. So I don't think I've ever really been overweight or anywhere near that. But for me, it was in terms of I remember 10 years ago I was in a really bad relationship, and it's just things like not washing and not being clean. I think that's how it manifested in me at that time in my life. it was more of like, I had really greasy hair and my appearance wasn't, the nicest, the clothes I would wear. And so I think sometimes people need to be aware that not everybody might put on weight, but then there's also other factors that might come into play that might, show or manifest in a way that means, I don't know how to put it into words, but like it not necessarily might come across to other people that you've not got that inner work, but you'll know yourself that you need to work on yourself internally, when you're not looking after yourself properly, or whether that's eating or whether that's not washing, or indifferent, or staying in that abusive relationship, which is where I was at that time, which is quite sad to think about. So yeah, back to the stories then that you were telling yourself. I'm really interested to hear, like, what was the story that you were telling yourself that kept you going?
I think the fact I've got 4 children, and having always been active, my children are quite active as well. I could not imagine that this was how my life was going to be for the rest of my life. Like my youngest, I've got my youngest twins. They were 4 at the time. I was like, there is no way that this is my life forevermore. There is no way that they're going to have a mum who can't do everything. So I can't do everything. I can't go running with them. But they're not going to have a mum who can't do it. So it was all to do. It stopped being about me, and it was all to do with them. So it's like, I'm not going to be in this bed. I'm not going to be in this wheelchair. I'm going to get off my crutches so that I can go and be the mum that they deserve. Now, they deserve, if I was in a wheelchair for the rest of my life, I was still the mum that they were going, and I was still going to be their mum. So it wasn't just, there was something about me as well. They would have still loved me had I been in a wheelchair. But I felt for me that they had the best opportunity if I could walk again, if I was out of my wheelchair again, and also to show them that actually you get down and you have to get back up again. Really, it was about them. It was about being able to do as much as I can possibly do with them, for them, and to get out of that bed.
Yeah, what a fitting analogy. I feel like I'm going to cry. It's so inspiring.
Although you know me, you didn't know everything about me.
yeah. That's why I love these interviews as well, because we do like a proper deep dive with people, and I've got a really squeaky chair. It's not me pooping.
I think my mic is moving around.
Yeah. Okay. So like, where are you at now then? So that happened. You've gone through that phase. You started your business. You're still running with your business. What place are you in now, and how can you support our listeners? I know we've got a freebie for them as well, haven't we?
Yeah. So I think that I was saying this to somebody. I was saying to one of my clients yesterday, actually, and we were talking about mindset. And I said, the thing about mindset, we have to practice it. So whatever we do in life, we always have to practice. We always have to practice it. So although I'm super, super good at doing all my mindset work, occasionally it will go, occasionally I'll have like a day where I'm thinking, oh, I can't be bothered. And it's just about always thinking about my why. So my why is, I want to be the best mum I can be. I want to be the best coach that I can be for my clients. And therefore, it means that I have to do certain things each day in order to become that person. So it's doing my mindset work. Just above my computer, which you can't see, but that's why I keep looking up, I've got something called my grateful list. And one of the things on my grateful list says I'm grateful for. And one of the things is breaking my leg. And it's because it showed me what I need to do. It pushed me to work my mindset a bit more. So what else did you ask? I've kind of gone off.
I was too engrossed in what you were saying to remember.
That's right.
Yeah, so what is it that you've got for our listeners? Because we've got them a freebie, haven't we? Free resource. We
have. So my freebie is all to do with being a busy working mum. So as I said earlier, one of the things I do with my clients is I help them make sustainable habits, so things that they can do which aren't going to take all day long, to be able to be fit. So you can cook a healthy meal in hardly any time at all. You can exercise and it be effective in less than 10 minutes a day. And it's a guide to help busy working mums so that they can have the shopping list that they need. It's getting organized, just a few little things in place, because it's all about planning. So it's a list where, right, this is what you need today to go and cook that meal, or this is an exercise program that you can do in less than 15 minutes. And it's a guide basically to let them go. So it goes through their health, and it goes through their food, it goes through their exercise, but it also goes through their wellness. And I think we forget that. So we forget about and it's not all about, you know, going to a spa or getting your nails. It's all about the stuff that we need to do for ourselves in order for us to be there for other people, because we like to be there for other people when we're mums.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. Okay, if there was one thing that you could leave with our listeners, what would it be?
Say that again, sorry.
If there was one thing that you could leave with our listeners, what would it be?
The one thing is that I want you to say to yourselves, I am enough. I am enough. Every day you look in the mirror, you get up and you say, I am enough. I am good enough. I'm strong enough. I am a mum enough. I am great enough at my job. I am enough. Because we don't tell ourselves that. And that's why we compare. And that's why we don't think that we're great. And that's why we think we need to lose weight or whatever it is. I am enough.
Yeah, I love that, and I completely agree. Absolutely love that. Thank you so much for being with us today.
That's okay.
Thank you for being here. Don't forget to always speak your truth and be who you are, because there is someone out there today who needs to hear your message. And if you need anything from us at all, head over to thefemaleentrepreneursnetwork.com and check us out. You'll find everything you could possibly need over there. Have an amazing day, and I'll catch you on the next episode.